All right, let's get started. Today we're going deep on Spanish exclamations.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Yeah, it is. We've got this super interesting source.
Okay.
It breaks down how to really pump up the emotion in your Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really amazing how much you can say with just a few words when you use these.
Right.
We're going to dig into all that.
I love it.
So what's really cool here is that, and our source talks about this,
Okay.
Spanish doesn't just use words to show you there's a lot of emotion.
Uh-huh.
They actually use punctuation, too.
Yeah. It's like a visual cue.
Yeah, it's like a heads up
Yeah, exactly.
to, get ready.
Totally.
Like quiet tone.
Like it sets the stage for the emotion of the sentence.
Yeah.
Like, you know how in Spanish you have the double exclamation points?
At the beginning and end?
Exactly. One at the beginning and one at the end.
Yeah.
You don't see that in English.
It's like a neon sign
Yeah.
flashing that says, whoa, get ready for some serious feeling.
Like, watch out. Big feelings coming.
Exactly. So I'm already, so into this.
I know. It's super interesting.
But I want to know more about how these exclamations, actually work in Spanish.
Okay. So, there's different ways to use them, obviously.
Okay.
But they often start with the word que,
Okay.
which can mean what or how,
Okay.
depending on what how you're using it.
Okay.
And it's sort of it sets the stage for the emotion that's going to come next.
Right.
And then you usually add an adjective
Okay.
or an adverb or a noun to really bring home the feeling or the quality.
Okay. So it's you're saying
Yeah.
K, and then
It's-
bam, you hit them with the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Hit them with the adjective or the adverb.
Okay. And do you have a favorite example from our source?
Oh, so many good ones.
Yeah.
But que alto always gets me for how tall.
Okay.
It really captures that feeling of awe
Yeah.
when you see something really, really big,
Yeah.
like a skyscraper.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of when I was in Barcelona
Oh, yeah.
looking at the Sagrada Familia,
Oh, wow.
and I bet I said que alto 100 times.
Yeah, it's pretty tall.
It's amazing.
That's a good one.
But these exclamations, they aren't always about good things, are they?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You can definitely use them to express, negative feelings too.
Right.
Like que mal for how bad.
Yeah.
It's like that universal, ugh,
Yeah.
when something goes wrong.
Totally.
Everyone's felt that.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that one.
For sure.
Well, speaking of relating, our source lays out 5 rules
Okay.
for how to really use these correctly. Should we go through those?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's start with emphasizing someone's characteristics.
Okay.
Like, que amable eres, which means how kind you are.
Okay.
Which, it's a simple phrase, but it really emphasizes how kind someone is.
Right. It's you're shining a light on that.
Exactly.
On that good quality.
Yeah, you're calling it out.
Yeah. What about the other rules?
Okay, well, so you can also use them to, comment on a situation.
Okay.
So cold.
Right.
The example from the source is que frío hace.
Yeah.
And I think we can all relate to that,
Oh, yeah.
especially in the winter.
Tell me about it. I'm from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I know all about the cold.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's the next one?
So the next one is describing how something is done.
Okay.
A good example is que bien escribes,
Oh, okay.
which is you write so well.
Oh, nice.
It's a good way to compliment someone on their skill.
Yeah, it's you're acknowledging their mastery of it.
Totally.
Okay.
And then there are ones that amplify a characteristic.
Okay.
Like, que casa tan bonita. What a beautiful house. It's not just beautiful, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's you're turning up the volume.
Yes.
On bonita.
Exactly.
And then the final rule.
So the final rule is that sometimes the verb and the subject are implied.
Okay.
So the exclamation stands alone.
Okay.
It's kind of like, a shorthand
Okay.
between the speaker and the listener.
Right.
If someone says, me ha tocado la lotería, I won the lottery.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And everyone's like, que suerte. How lucky.
Yeah.
You don't need a full sentence.
Exactly.
Because everyone just gets it. It's
Right.
you just know.
Yeah, it's all about that shared, moment.
The context.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And I'm already starting to see how these exclamations, they make Spanish feel so, alive.
Yeah, they do. It adds a whole layer of
Yeah.
authenticity and vibrancy.
Yeah, totally, totally. It's like you're unlocking this like secret code.
It's like a secret code to expressing yourself like a native speaker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
It's really cool.
Well, I'm definitely feeling inspired
That's great.
to start adding some of these into my Spanish.
Yeah.
But I do have a question.
Okay.
Are there any times when using them would be like inappropriate
Oh, that's a good question.
or even offensive?
That's a really good question. And I think that deserves its own little deep dive.
Okay.
So we can look at the nuances of like when to use them and when not to.
Okay, perfect.
How about we do that after a quick break?
Sounds good.
So yeah, using exclamations the wrong way
Yeah.
can definitely be a problem. It's like, you
Yeah.
don't want to overdo it.
It's like adding hot sauce
Yes.
to your food.
Exactly.
Like a little bit is good,
yeah.
but too much
Too much is not good.
can ruin the whole thing.
Right. So like in a formal setting, like a business meeting or a job interview,
Right.
you probably want to like tone it down a bit.
You don't want to be like,
Yeah.
K.
Yeah, exactly.
Then-
To your boss.
Right. You want to be professional.
Yeah.
And respectful.
Yeah, you don't want to seem unprofessional.
Right.
Or too casual.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And even in casual settings,
Right.
you want to be mindful of like who you're talking to
Yeah.
and how they communicate.
Uh-huh.
Like if you're not sure if it's okay to use an exclamation,
Right.
just like see what other people are doing
Yeah.
and kind of follow their lead.
It's all about reading the room.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like that's good advice for any language, I think.
It is. It is. And it's interesting
Yeah.
how like exclamations, they can be different
Uh-huh.
across cultures,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Like Spanish is very expressive,
Yeah.
but other languages might be more reserved.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah. Well, that makes me think about our source
Okay.
because it's from a Spanish teacher
Uh-huh.
who's teaching English speakers.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So like, do you think,
I mean, I think he probably has to think about that
yeah,
a lot.
cross-cultural
Perspective.
perspective?
Yeah, he's bridging the gap
Right.
between the two languages
Yeah.
and the two cultures.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's so important
It is.
because if you only think about language
Yeah.
through your own like cultural lens,
Uh-huh.
you might miss stuff.
Yeah, you might miss those nuances.
You know,
Totally.
those little things that make it so interesting.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Learning a language is about so much more
Yeah.
than just the words.
It is. It's about understanding another culture.
It's like opening a window into a whole different way
Totally.
of seeing the world.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And one of the things that I thought was so interesting about our source
Hmm.
was how he emphasized that emotional side
Yeah.
of exclamations.
Ah.
Like it's not just
It's not just facts.
giving information.
Right.
It's about sharing your feelings, your reactions.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not paying attention,
Yeah.
you might miss that.
Yeah, you might think someone is just saying something neutral
Right.
when really they're feeling really strongly about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could think someone's stating a fact
Yeah.
when they're actually like
When really they're like
super emotional.
super excited or super upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
And this reminds me
Oh, yeah.
of when I was first learning Spanish
Uh-huh.
and I heard someone say, que cala.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought they were talking about the weather.
Right.
But then I realized
Yeah.
from their tone
Uh-huh.
and their body language
Yeah.
that they were actually expressing
They were actually expressing like,
something way deeper.
yeah, like frustration
Yeah.
or like being overwhelmed.
It wasn't just about the temperature.
Right.
It was about
It was the emotional heat.
the feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Wow. That's such a good example
Really.
of how even a simple phrase
Yeah.
can have all these layers.
Uh-huh. Like depending on how you say it
Right.
and who you're saying it to.
Right. So it's not just what you say,
Yeah, it's how you say
that's how you say it. Right.
Exactly.
Like you could say the same words,
Totally.
but totally change the meaning.
Yeah, you can say the same phrase
Yeah.
in a happy way
Yeah.
or an angry way
Right.
or a sarcastic way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where using exclamations, it gets interesting.
Okay.
You know, you have to learn how to use your voice
Mm-hmm.
to show what you really mean.
It's like you're an actor on stage.
Yes. I love that.
Right.
You have to really feel the emotion
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to make it believable.
And speaking of actors,
yeah.
have you ever noticed how they use these exclamations to
Yeah.
like add drama
All the time.
to a performance?
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're channeling all this energy
Right.
through their voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the exclamations just make it more powerful.
Totally. Totally. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder if other languages do that too.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Like, do they have their own ways
Right.
of showing that kind of...
Right. Like, do they have their own version of the double exclamation points?
Yeah.
Or do they do it in a different way?
Yeah, that's
something to think about.
Totally. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
But for now,
Okay.
let's get back to these Spanish exclamations.
I see. Sounds good.
So our source mentioned that they're used sometimes when someone's raising their voice or shouting,
Yeah.
but they don't always
But it's not always negative.
have to be negative, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right. So it depends on the context and the words.
Exactly.
So can you give me some examples?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Like, imagine you're at a soccer game.
Okay.
Your team scores a goal.
Yeah.
You might shout, "Que golazo!"
Ooh.
Which means, like, what a fantastic goal.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're expressing excitement,
Yeah.
joy,
Yeah.
not anger.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
I
Like,
see.
I can hear the crowd going wild.
Exactly. Totally.
Right.
Or like, imagine you get some really good news
Yeah.
that you weren't expecting.
Okay.
You might say, "Que alegría,"
Okay.
which means, what joy.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
it's all about happiness.
Right. So it's not just about being loud. It's about matching the intensity of your voice to your feelings.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You got it.
Wow. I'm realizing that these Spanish exclamations are more than just grammar,
They are.
you know? It's like they're a way to really connect with people.
Exactly. Like on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can share your passions,
Yeah.
your feelings, all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about,
Yeah.
is there ever a time when it's like too much?
Oh, that's interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, could it be insincere?
Yeah.
Or over the top?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think that really highlights the importance
Yeah.
of understanding cultural differences.
Yeah.
So why don't we explore that
Okay.
a little bit more? It's really interesting, right?
Yeah.
How something as small as an exclamation point can make such a big difference in how you sound
Right.
to other people.
Yeah, they're like little keys that unlock a whole new level of feeling.
Yeah, they really do.
And it's so important to know how to use them the right way. Especially, like you were saying, when you're talking to people from different cultures.
Right, exactly.
Right, because like you don't want to accidentally be like super dramatic.
Yeah.
Or
It's
like
a scene thing. Right?
insincere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just because you're trying to be enthusiastic and,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
use all your new Spanish skills.
Totally, totally. So like, how can people avoid that?
Okay, so I think one of the most important things is to pay attention to the context.
Okay.
Like, where are you?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Uh-huh.
What's the overall vibe of the conversation?
Okay.
And if you're not sure,
Uh-huh.
it's always better to be a little more cautious,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and just kind of see what other people are doing
Yeah.
and kind of follow their lead.
So it's like learning those unspoken rules.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like etiquette.
Etiquette. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, that's a good way to think about it. And I think another thing that can really help is immersing yourself in the culture.
Okay. Yeah.
So like watch Spanish movies, listen to music,
Yeah.
read books,
Okay.
talk to native speakers.
Right. Right.
As much as you can.
So it's not just about
Yeah,
learning words from a textbook.
right. It's about experiencing the language in real life.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So for our listeners who are like just starting out with Spanish,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Well, I would say start by paying attention
Okay.
to how native speakers use these exclamations.
Okay.
You know, listen to their tone of voice,
Yeah.
watch their facial expressions, their body language,
Yeah.
all of that.
It's like a free lesson.
Exactly. Exactly. And as you start to learn
Yeah.
the different types of exclamations,
Mm-hmm.
try using them yourself.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
to make mistakes. Yeah.
That's how we learn.
Exactly. That's how you learn.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. I think like the big takeaway
Ah,
from all of this
yeah.
is that these Spanish exclamations,
Yeah.
they're like a really powerful way
Yeah.
to like really express yourself.
Totally.
Connect with people.
They are, yeah.
In a genuine way.
Yeah. And they let you connect with like the heart of the language,
Right.
the feeling.
Yeah, and they remind us that language is so much more than
that's
just
true.
words.
It really is.
You know?
Yeah. It's like a reflection
Yeah.
of like all of human experience.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
So as we wrap up our deep dive
into the new world,
into Spanish exclamations.
It's Spanish exclamations.
I just want to encourage everyone to embrace this journey of learning Spanish.
Don't be afraid.
With enthusiasm.
To experiment.
Yes.
To make mistakes.
Totally.
To keep learning.
And have fun.
Exactly.
All right.
Hasta la próxima.
Adios.